Yo, what's going on, everybody? What's going on, YouTube? Huh? There's a war going on outside. Nobody's safe, you heard? Everybody catching it. Welcome to my new video, everybody. I got a new video to spread some information on what's going on out here. Open up your mind. Yo, y'all copped the new Force, the off-white Force. Y'all copped the new what's the name of these? The Force sale. They came out at regular price, $200, and they're currently at $1,800. If you can find them. I just want to know, who are the people paying $2,000 for a pair of sneakers made in China? China, the capital counterfeit of the world. Why are we spending $2,000 on Chinese-made sneakers? That's how you know how brainwashed and how mind control you are. Once they got you paying $2,000 for a pair of sneakers, they can make you do whatever they want. You're under their control. Their control, who's them? The globalists. New World Order. China, the capital counterfeit of the world. Do you think they're spending $2,000 of material to build this sneaker? Look at the sneaker itself. If you hold it in your hand physically, you see how cheaply it's made. It's used with cheap materials. It doesn't cost any more than $15 to make this sneaker. They use cheap material to build this sneaker. They sell it to you for $250, and then these hype beasts, these resellers, go and market it up for $2,000. How are you comparing a sneaker, right, a brand, to like, oh, it's a collectible item? This shit is not a coin. This shit is not a stamp. This shit is not artwork. Sneakers that spend their whole life on the ground, getting dirty, getting scuffed up, getting creased, you're gonna collect them? Y'all wildin'. This is just ridiculous. Actually, it's ridiculously disgusting because these sneakers are made in China. All these companies, Microsoft, Facebook, Apple, Google, Nike, Adidas, Puma, Reebok, why do you think they have all of their workforce in China? Why do you think these companies open up and they send all of their factories, right, to assemble their products in China? All of these companies do that. They sent all the jobs to China. Why? Because it's cheaper. Right? It's cheaper to pay somebody a quarter, right, versus $15 an hour. Right? It's cheaper to pay somebody a quarter a day versus $15 an hour for 8 hours a day. But they don't even do that. Apple, Nike, and other big brands linked to forced labor in China. These companies, they use forced labor They force people to work 18 hours, 20 hours a day to make their products, and they don't pay them anything. Microsoft, Facebook, Apple, Google, Nike, Adidas, Puma, Reebok, Twitter, Dell computers, all these companies have their factories in China where they use forced labor, which is slavery. That's slavery. In order for these companies to get their products built, they use slavery. They force people to work. These factories in China. So of course you're going to be a billionaire company, right? You have a workforce working for you for free, right? Making sneakers, making iPhones or whatever. You don't pay these people. They make the sneaker, they build the sneaker, they assemble the phone. Then you sell the phone. You sell the phone to us for $1,000, an iPhone. You sell a Samsung Galaxy for $1,000 to us. How much did it cost you to gather all the pieces to assemble that? Because you didn't pay the people that were assembling. You forced them to work for nothing. Then you have these same people assemble a sneaker. You don't pay them. And then you sell the sneaker to us for $250. Then you have people brainwashed to the maximum capacity, retailing it for $2,000. What's the real worth of this sneaker? Break it down. They use garbage materials to build these Jordans. They use forced labor. They have people work for free. They use slavery. In order for their products to be assembled. Here's a little clip in regards to the information.
You are from ASPI. You're the lead author of this new paper looking at what's happened to the estimated 1 million Uyghurs and other ethnic minorities.
Uyghurs are the Asian Muslims. They're Asians, but they believe in Allah. Right? You could be Asian, you could be Chinese and be a Christian Chinese, believe in Christianity. You could be an Asian, you could be Chinese and believe and be a Muslim. So in China's president, Xi Jinping, doesn't allow that. Doesn't allow Christianity. He doesn't allow Muslims. He puts them in concentration camps. And these minorities, right, are the ones that are working forced labor in these companies' factories.
Minorities that have been held in detention centres in the Xinjiang province. What have you found?
We found that since 2018, 2019, some of them are being released, and some, residents in Xinjiang are being rounded up, and they're sent out to other provinces in China, spread across the country, and they're working in factories that are in the supply chains of a number of, very famous global brands that we wear every day: Nike, Adidas, Apple.
By your reckoning, something like 80,000 or at least 80,000 people who were in these detention centres have been effectively used as forced labour. We're talking about Nike, BMW, Gap, Huawei, Samsung, Sony and Volkswagen.
You heard all these companies? No wonder BMWs are shitty vehicles. You have slaves working on them. No wonder them shits need maintenance and they always break down. You have little kids. You have You have people forced to work on these things for free. There's no love in no BMW. There's no love in no Nike sneaker. There's hatred behind all of that.
What's the purpose there?
The 80,000 number, first of all, is a very conservative estimate. It's basically based on Chinese state media reporting. And the purpose to transfer these ethnic minorities out is basically to forcibly strip them of their very unique identity and culture, at these factories.
Because in China, Xi Jinping is God. You see, you can't believe in no other religion and no other God, because in China you have to bow down to Xi Jinping in this communist party. Okay, it's all communism. It's all part of communism. You see, so you have to see what these companies, right? These big companies, because they basically have all our information. Google, Apple, they spy on us. They know what we do. They can read our emails. They can read our text messages. They could spy on us. Could listen on to our conversations. These companies are going to be more powerful than the government because they know more than what the government knows. This is how these companies are going to take over the government, and we're going to be slaves to them. In the same way, they have people in China doing forced labor. These companies are going to bring forced labor to the United States of America under communism. So you think that you're going to be working long hours now? Wait until the technocracy takes over. It's going to get real fuzzy real fast.
Uyghurs being an ethnic minority, Muslim minority.
Yeah, it's basically to strip the Uyghurs, this Turkic Muslim minority, of their very unique identity and culture. Some companies are directly using Uyghur labor to manufacture their product, and other companies, in a long, complicated supply chain, it might be second tier or third tier, there is Uyghur labor, and they might not know.
Well, it's so
You
organized.
do know. These companies are aware of what's going on. You're going to tell me that it's a third party, second party that is so far removed that you're not aware of what's going on? That you don't have forced labor going on? That you don't have little kids working in your concentration camps? Because they want to call them thought transformation camps. They feel like these people that are under another religion are radicals. Muslim can turn into a terrorist, and they feel that Christianity is also a form of rebellion. So they don't want that ideology. They don't want that type of mentality in their country. Remember, Xi Jinping, the president of China, is God.
It's actually called, you've discovered, Xinjiang Aid, where workers are being traded by private brokers. That sounds very much like modern slavery.
That is modern slavery.
Companies who engage Uyghur workers under these coercive labor transfers could be in breach of modern slavery laws in different countries. They have different versions of that.
Slavery never ended. Slavery never ended. Slavery still goes on till this day. Modern slavery. Run by Microsoft, Facebook, Apple, Google, Nike, Adidas, Puma, all these companies, Twitter, and enforced by the Communist Chinese Party. Because if you don't do what they tell you to do, they just shoot you in your head. End of that chapter.
Say that, under this sweeping policy of so-called Xinjiang aid, the Chinese government is encouraging provinces, more developed provinces, to go in and develop Xinjiang, this region that the government thinks is problematic because it has all these minorities.
Well, how do you
So we got to go and
this
put
is
them in
happening?
concentration camps.
Basically, every piece of information we were able to find for this report was open source research. So they're all just out in the open on the internet, state media reports, government documents. They're all downloadable.
In one instance, Vicky, you have
China has people in concentration camps. And not just people, they also have children too. 11 Christian children arrested as China increases persecution, but faith continues to grow. They arrested children. To go where? Why do you arrest Christian children? What crime did they commit? They're just following the faith of their parents. I don't know if I'm going to be a Christian when I grow up. I might become a Muslim. I might become a Jew. I don't know. I might become a Buddhist. I'm not sure. I'm still a kid. Why are you arresting me? Because I'm going to put you in a concentration camp so you can make Nike sneakers for free. All right? It's a business. Shut your mouth and get in this van before I put this bag over your face. Okay?
China's crackdown on Christians and their churches is intensifying. Last weekend, nearly 50 members of the Early Rain Covenant Church, including 11 children, were arrested at 2 different locations in the city of Chengdu. Public Security Bureau agents closed the church last December and arrested Pastor Wang Yi and 160 Christians. This time, the church reports at least 2 of its members were violently beaten. Also, authorities detained 11 children, some of them for nearly 8 hours. Senior international correspondent Gary Lane joins us now to talk more about it. So this latest raid is nothing new. This has actually been going on for quite some time. Explain.
Yeah, so if you were...
This has been going on for quite some time, guys. All right? Look at this. Inside China's thought transformation camps. These are where the Uyghurs go, right? And they get indoctrinated. They get brainwashed with communist propaganda.
China used to deny that these places exist. But now we're being given a tour. The message? These are schools, not prisons.
他们受到一定的极端思想感染以后，为了就是把自己思想里面的极端思想
Purpose is to get rid of their extremist
But
thoughts.
the more we ask, have you
They're known as extremists. Whether Christians or Muslims, if you believe in another faith other than Xi Jinping is God, then you're a rebel. You're a radical. You're an extremist. You're a terrorist. So now we gotta brainwash you to believe the communist Chinese party propaganda. Because to the New World Order, the Chinese propaganda, right? The Chinese Communist Party is an example of what one world order is supposed to be. They want the whole world to look like communist China. And then you see the Secretary of State going around trying to rally people to go against China, letting people know that China didn't help the US government unlock iPhones. I'm sorry, Apple. Apple didn't help the US government unlock an iPhone that was used in a terrorist act. And it took them like four months to hack into the iPhone and to retrieve the information. Apple refused to give the key codes to the because they have key codes to every iPhone, and they could hack into it, they could unlock it. They refused to give the key codes to the government and help them with this terrorist act. But they give keys to China all the time. So you're gonna tell me that they're not aware of what's going on in their backyard, in their companies, in their factories? That they have Muslims and Christians and children in concentration camps building their products?
You been convicted of a crime?
我没有犯罪，我就是犯了错。
How often are you able to
She
pray?
said, I haven't committed a crime, just a mistake. So your belief system is a mistake. What you believe in is a mistake. So now we got to brainwash you to think, quote unquote, the proper way.
国家法律规定，学校公共场所，公共场所不能从事宗教活动。
The more evidence we try to gather of our own, the more questions there are.
It's a jail. It's a jail. That's a prison.
As hundreds of thousands of Muslims disappear into giant secure facilities,
Prisons.
China has begun taking a few selected journalists inside. This is what it wants the world to see. Offered up as proof that these are not prisoners, but students. Willingly being guided away from extremism.
Understand the wordplay that they
Is it your
use.
choice to be here?
These are not prisoners, they're students.
就是，我以前因非法法律意识淡薄，被个人的极端主义和恐怖主义思想的影响，所以我的孙亲发现，他对我说：“这么好的学校，你可以去参加，转化自己的思想。”
Always in the background, government officials watch over every interview. And this is how thoughts are transformed. Long hours of rote learning Chinese. The study of China's tightening restrictions on religion. And the replacing of faith and cultural identity with a different loyalty. I love the Communist Party of China, this man has written.
Yo, that's enough. How much do you have to see? How much proof do you need? These companies are using modern day slavery to make their products. And there's more. BMW, Twitter, Dell, Cisco. They're all down with communism. And we support that every time we purchase their products. We support little kids in concentration camps. We support Muslims. We support Christians in concentration camps. We support child labor. We support forced labor. We're supporting modern day slavery every time we purchase a pair of Jordans. They're not giving you the best product. They're using the cheapest materials around, sewing it together. A little kid is not a professional. It looks nice, but not for $2,000. And that's what's going on now. That's what's going on now with the whole Black Lives Matter movement. They were funded by 3 lesbians that have Marxist ideologies. Belief in communism, right? Then they have Antifa, which is their paramilitary group. And they're using Antifa to take over the government, to bring in communism or socialism. Because basically socialism is just communism playing Halloween. So that's what Black Lives Matter is. It's a movement to usher in communism, and Antifa is the paramilitary group used to take over the government, to dismantle the government, to bring down statues, to protest, to cause riots, to disrupt the system. That's why people say Black Lives Matter is not for Black lives. Because once you go and you start digging deep into the background and into the players, into the founders, into all these characters that are in Black Lives Matter, that are in Antifa, then you start seeing these other foundations that all have ties together. Then you understand that it's a communist takeover. Now everybody, right? Now everybody's gonna be working 18-hour, 20-hour days. Forced. Making sneakers and making products for these technology companies. Have I bought Jordans before? I have, yes. I'm not gonna be a hypocrite and say I've never bought Jordans before. But Nike, as a corporation, is no longer getting a dime from me. Nike specifically, because they abuse so much. Now you even a pair of SB Dunks. Back in the day, SB Dunks, I'm talking back in the day like 2008, SB Dunks used to be like $60. They were giving them away for free. They couldn't get rid of them shits. They were skateboarding sneakers. And you had to have a certain style to rock with it. You feel me? Now I saw some Dunks for $3,000. I'm like, no way. The mind control and the brainwashing is at an ultimate high. If people think that sneakers are an investment, oh, I'm just gonna collect sneakers. Like I collect coins or stamps. Who in their right mind thinks that sneakers are a collection? Sneakers is not a piece of jewelry. Who's making those sneakers expensive? All the people. Because once you no longer want it, or there's no demand for it, it's just gonna go right back down to $100. Their whole objective is to have a one world government. You think these companies care that they use forced labor, that they're using modern day slavery? You think these companies care? We need profit. And if we can cut somebody down the chain supply line, more money in our pockets. All these companies, you can look it up. These companies send all their factories to China so that they can have children and Muslims and Christians working in them. They're basically sweatshops. They want to make them seem all nice. Oh, this is not a prison, this is a school. These are sweatshops. People work 18-hour, 20-hour days. For free, for nothing, forced. And if we keep on supporting these companies, they're gonna take over the government. You saw the hack that happened with Twitter, right? Why you think that happened? Because Twitter kept censoring the president. He wrote an executive order against, and they kept on banning him, kept on reprimanding him like, we got more power than you. The president didn't like that. So Twitter was hacked and exposed their dashboard on how they can blacklist and ban people, which they said didn't exist. Somebody inside the government hacked Twitter because Twitter wants to become the government, wants to become the lead company on what we say. So government officials hacked Twitter and exposed them and brought up Bitcoin to throw off the tracks. Don't forget the news, because it just happened a couple of weeks ago. Don't forget how Twitter and the president are going back and forth. That's how they fight modern day wars. They hack each other. Instead of sending troops on the ground with rifles to shoot, they send people to hack computers and to hack into your database and to expose all your secrets. Now we can blackmail you. These companies are going to morph together into one powerful technological corporation. And they're going to rule us. They're going to force everybody into labor. Force everybody into concentration camps. We're already heading that way because we're paying $2,000 for a pair of sneakers it's not worth it. It's not worth it. I'm going to give it the most it costs to the materials, all the materials that you gather in order to make a pair of Jordans. It can't be more than $25. You can't pay more than $25 for all the fabrics and the rubbers and all these other plastics. And then you're not paying the person to assemble them, to stitch them up and to put them together. You're not paying that person. You're taking the sneaker, shipping it straight to the United States, and you're selling it for $250. They're in low quantity. They sell out quickly. So people buying for $250, right? But then you do that on purpose. You restrict the limit on how many pair of sneakers people can get so that this can happen. So that people can fucking shell out $2,000, $1,800, $1,000, $895 for a pair of sneakers that are not worth it. That's the beginning of our end. That's how they see how they can control us and how much time we have, or how much time they have in order to take over. Well, listen, these people are mega brainwashed. They're paying $2,000 for a pair of sneakers. We can definitely take over the world now because we took over their minds. We can initiate whatever we want right now because these people are not going to have any clue what's going on. They're paying $2,000 for a pair of sneakers. You think Nike cares for you? Nike don't care about you. From now on, Nike has to give me a check in order for me to wear a Nike hat or a Nike sneakers or a Nike shirt. Nike got to cut the check. Right? And all these other companies like Google and Apple, there's only two phone companies. There's only two, Android or Apple. We're forced. We can't, and we need phones in order to stay connected. So these people duped us already. There's no way to escape because they're already spying on us. They know us more than we know ourselves. I'm walking down the street, Google pops up. How was McDonald's? Bitch, I didn't eat McDonald's. Why are you spying on me? My phone is on the table by itself. And then the Google assistants pop up. What did you say? Bitch, I ain't say nothing. Stop spying on me. But we gave these companies permission to take over our phones, to take over our lives, and to steal our data and to sell it. We have no privacy with these companies. They see everything that we do. They know everything about our lives. They know everything about our finances. They know if we're married. They know if we have kids. They know if we're depressed. They know if we're happy. These companies are going to combine together to make one major technological corporation to rule the earth. And if we don't wake up now, we're going to end up like the other hundreds of thousands of people in China that are in forced labor, working for Apple, Nike, Google, Twitter, Facebook, BMW, Dell, Cisco. All these companies move their factories to China because China participates in child labor. So don't tell me that these companies are not aware of what's going on. Please. If we don't inform ourselves and inform other people of what's really going on behind the curtains, we're going to be doomed, just like our fellow brothers and sisters in China. China has no boundaries. They arrest children. They have children in labor camps. They don't care. And if we don't do anything, we're going to end up just like them. Black Lives Matter is a communist movement, and they're using Antifa as their paramilitary to take over the American government. If you don't like the way the government is now, believe me that when the socialists come and declare communism, you're not going to like that system very much neither. It's been proven in history. And you see it all the time. You see it going on now. People are just being massacred. People driving through Black Lives Matter protests, Antifa, and they're getting shot in the head. That's what communists do. They shoot people in the head. You know, people's cars are getting swarmed. They panic and they accelerate. And they want you to panic so they can shoot you in the head and say, oh, you try to run us over. There was a peaceful protest at one point. There was a peaceful protest, right? And there was people marching down the street, holding up their banners, chanting, right? And then some people out of nowhere, dressed in all black, started throwing Molotov cocktails and burning shit and rioting and burning cars. And the peaceful protesters are looking at each other like, what the hell is going on? Proceed, still march to City Hall. That's why they say it was hijacked. Because initially there was peaceful protest. There was peaceful marchers going. And people dressed in black out of nowhere came with Molotov cocktails, burning buildings, burning cars. And you know, that energy is contagious. You know what? Fuck the peaceful protest. And it turns violently very quickly. That's how it was hijacked. So they try to separate Black Lives Matter with Antifa. But in actuality, Antifa is the army that works for Black Lives Matter, the movement. And they're doing all the dirty work in order to clean out, make way for communism. You got to destroy our history so we don't know where we came from, right? In order to usher in communism. Because if you know your history, you know what communism is about. You've seen all these dictators. You've seen what they've done. What Hitler did in Nazi Germany, and he killed 50 million Jews. People knew that was going on. It was a public campaign against the Jews. And what happened was, it was an experiment. He was inspired by certain Americans like Margaret Sanger, Thomas Watson. Margaret Sanger from, she's the founder of Planned Parenthood. Thomas Watson, I think the founder of IBM. He was inspired by these people. He was inspired by Margaret Sanger's eugenics project. So that whole ethnic cleansing and genocide of the Jews was to maintain a master race is eugenics. They were part of an experiment. That's what World War II was. That's what the Holocaust was an experiment. And the experiment never ended. You feel me? They were embarrassed, which was Margaret Sanger and the American Eugenics Society. They were embarrassed by Hitler's actions. So they went underground. And they came up with Planned Parenthood, you know what I mean, to extend the experiment, which is still going on now. The Holocaust wasn't just for the Jews. Jews, Christian, Muslims, black people. And black people now are the primary target. Why do you think so many boys have autism now? 70% of boys have autism. And they're either African American or Latino. This is how they're going to reduce the population. It's a plan and moving forward with it. If we keep on buying $2,000 sneakers, we're supporting communist parties. We're supporting the New World Order. We're supporting concentration camps. We're supporting the slaughter of people everywhere that live under communism. And then ultimately, we're supporting our own deaths. We're building our own concentration camps. We're funding them. I need people to wake up. I know that dream feels good, man. I know you don't want to wake up from your bed. I know dreaming feels good. Once you sleeping and you're in that dreaming state, it feels awesome. But that's not reality. You need to wake up, get out of your bed, and get with the program. Unless you want to be a slave. Modern day slavery. Unless you want to be a modern day slave. because slavery has never ended. Just went underneath a different name. Forced labor. Thought transformation camps. Instead of concentration camps. Thought transformation camps. That's what we're all heading to if we keep on buying from these companies. We keep on supporting these companies. People, wake up.